Good afternoon. I'm Chris Beebe's brother, David, and I welcome all of you to this virtual celebration of Charlotte Beebe's life. Due to the widespread circulation of the Delta variant of COVID-19, Chris felt and those helping to plan this event agreed that a large in-person event. Thus, many of the participants in the program will be coming from other than the golf club. Regardless of where we are physically this afternoon, we are joined in expressing our admiration of and our love for Charlotte and all that she gave to us. And now I'll turn it over to her son, Kent, talking to us from Colorado Springs.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Kent Murphy. I'm Mom's son and oldest child. And of course, we would have liked to have done this last year, closer to the time of her passing, but many of our plans were thwarted, including now. Do you hear me okay? Is this coming through?
Yes.
Can't see you.
Oh, okay. Well,
We can hear you very well, Ken.
I can see you just.
okay.
And we can see you just fine.
All right,
Yeah.
very good. Well, I want to say many thanks to those of you who are there in person, for everyone who's live streaming. And I wanted to let you know that we've received some really excellent help from the folks at Long's Funeral Home. And if you go on the web to Long's Funeral Home in the next day or two, they'll have this service available. And we ultimately hope to post it on YouTube so that you can remember Mom anytime you're thinking about her. For those of you who are live streaming, please stay on mute until the time comes that you're called on to speak. As David said, we're here to celebrate the life of a remarkable human being who lived a remarkable life. And if I had to think of one word that I would choose to apply to my mom, that if I were describing her to someone that had not known her, the word that came to mind over and over for me was the word gracious. And gracious is defined in Webster's as someone having a kindness and warm courtesy towards others. And that truly was my mom. She was very loving and accepting of everybody that God brought into her life, and was a tremendous model for us. I personally feel incredibly fortunate to have had her as a mother. And Mom, if you're watching, I love you. Just a couple of other quick things I want to mention before we have other family members speak. Chris has been able to have Mom's special garden in Friendship redone, and it's a real stunner. And if you would like to go there and see it and just remember her, just give Chris a call and he can give you directions or even potentially set up a time to meet you there. And also, for those of you that are live streaming, we have some small boxes with Mom's picture on them, and inside is a little pot that has a sunflower seed that's going to grow in there. And that was her favorite flower. And if you would like to have one, we have a bunch of them. We were anticipating handing them out to everybody there at the service when we were thinking we'd be able to all be there in person. And Rick Chandler is the person handling email addresses and that sort of thing. So just email him and we'll try to put it in the mail to you. And without any further ado, we're going to let some of our family members speak and tell you some of the things that they remember about Mom that are wonderful memories that I'm sure will kindle that spirit in your hearts.
Well, thank you very much, Kent. Next, I want to just say a few words about Chris and Charlotte's good friend, Archie McCree, who many of you know and were inspired by him in Camden. He was for many years the minister of the First Congregational Church here in Camden. And became a very special friend of both Chris and Charlotte's. And although he cannot be here today, he has sent a message, part of which will be read by Shannon Murphy, who joins us from her home in Arizona. Shannon.
So this is coming from Archie, their dear friend. And so, anyway, so this is from Archie. Charlotte Beebe was a very special person. When I first met Charlotte and Chris in 1986, I thought, what a beautiful woman she is and what a handsome couple they are. As I got to know Charlotte and Chris over the years, it was obvious that she was not only beautiful on the outside, but on the inside as well. Her quiet and thoughtful manner did not cover up her caring for others and her deep spirituality. Chris and Charlotte complimented each other in almost all the things they did. They truly shared life with each other, and I know that important decisions in life were made by them always as a couple, and they were good dancers too, and they were good, and they still are. She's dancing on the other side, and he's still dancing, I'm hoping. The purpose of the gathering of this family and friends today is to honor Charlotte and all that she has given us. We come here knowing that these last years of her life were difficult and often filled with suffering, but that's not the sum of who she was. Charlotte, we leave behind the difficulties of the last years of your life and honor your faith and the love you gave to Chris and all of us. God bless you, Charlotte, and all who are here today to honor you. Amen. And I just want to say something myself too. I put in there is that the last few years have been quite a journey with my mother and Chris, a profound experience. And I say that with love. I have never been more in awe and proud of my mother. She was the epitome of grace and strength as she in her timing accepted her fate. I love being around my mother. In the last few years, getting to serve my mother has been my greatest joy. It will always be. She made me smile, and her loving and fun banter at times would make you laugh. Many caregivers and friends would say the same. My mother didn't talk about herself much or her accomplishments. She was a very private woman, but my mom was deep. She was a seeker of truth and had her own personal spiritual walk going on. When I last saw my mom in September, my mother told me she was ready to pass on, to go on to her next journey that awaits her. She knew she was walking into love, and love was waiting for her. I love you, Mom, and I love you, Chris. Thank you for caring for my mother. I wish you, Chris, much love and happiness for the rest of your days, as I know my mom would want that for you too. And thank you everyone that came out today on Zoom to celebrate the beautiful Charlotte Beebe. Special thanks to Mom's friends, Loie, that put a lot of time and effort in, and her friends Kathy and Lee and Judy and David and all of Charlotte's kids and her husband, Chris, and all that attended today. My mother loved you all very, very much.
Well, thank you very much, Shannon. And now I think Michael and Christopher Murphy have some things they would like to say. Who wants to go first?
All right, I will go first.
You need.
Good to go? All right. Perfect. I'm going to move these out of the way and introduce you to two people. I know there are some people who knew me and my brother when we were little kids, even to now, and we love y'all. You don't know, or some of you might not know, my wife and my wonderful son. So we'll have them jump into frame. This is my wife, Amber, and this is my son, Finch. And he doesn't get to see too many screens, so he's super weird about what's going on right now. But so the name Finch came because my wife loves it, and he loves the birds. He will sit under the trees and mimic the birds over and over, so it's already fitting. He's talkative, so that's already fitting. And the name Henry is his middle name, and it came from an author who I've come to very, very much love from the early 1900s, named Henry Van Dyke. Oh yeah, and this is his lobster named Lonnie. It is his favorite toy, right, buddy? And Henry Van Dyke wrote a line that I love. He wrote, "As in a river, so in a writing, clearness is the best quality, and a little that is pure is worth more than much that is mixed." So while I could go on for hours about what Charlotte, my grandmother, my Grammy meant to me, I just want to share a poem that I wrote last year, just in honor of her creative breadth as a person, and out of the memories of what an elegant woman she was, and what a wonderful place Maine is, and a wonderful little cottage that's blue and gray, which many of you know quite well. So if you're comfortable doing so, I'd love you would just close your eyes for a moment, wherever you are, as I read this, and just sit with me in this memory. And a lot of your memories are shared in these places. So if you would just close your eyes for a moment and just listen. To the sea, vibrant garden, honey bee, house full of wonder, snap pea, cup of tea, sunsets on the deck, white wine, charcuterie, gentle spirit, burning fire, running free, running free. We love thee, loving wife, mother of three, great grandmother soon to be, a precious life follows thee, born from your family tree. Oh, if only you could see. Elegance, sensitivity, wellspring of creativity, friend through the ages, and affectionate affinity, artist of many facets, ginger candy proclivity, staple of all festivity, and any good activity. You lived in the present, and though not presently, you are with us no less, all of we, all agree. At the sea, you will be, you will be. Sleep well, sweet Charlotte, your memory is with me. Thank you. I'd love to tee up my brother now, who is a wonderful guy, and go for it, Michael.
Hi, everyone. I'm Charlotte's oldest grandson, Michael. I knew her as Grammy. I want to start by thanking everyone who put in a lot of hard work to make all this happen, both first in person and now online. I was talking with my dad and Chris a couple months ago and felt slightly burdened about how to make sure that this all went smoothly. And I got on a call with all of her friends I think about a month ago, and you guys had it handled. I forgot how high quality all of her friends are and how well you all knew her and how tightly knit of a community it was. And frankly, there was very little for me to even do because so many high quality people had already stepped up to the plate and handled everything that needed to be done. But I love my Grammy very much. It still feels a little surreal after losing her on Thanksgiving. But I'm very thankful for her, and that's almost fitting in a way. I'm so thankful for all the experiences and lessons that I've learned from her and also from Chris. I've very rarely ever said the name Grammy without also saying Chris. They came as a pair. It was Grammy and Chris. And, looking back, all the summers we spent in Maine are truly peak experiences. There's not much better. You grew up and figured out that other people didn't spend their summers in beautiful Camden and Friendship. And those summers are so peaceful and so beautiful. And when I go to places in my mind that I love, that's honestly one of the first places that comes to mind. I didn't even fully understand how special Charlotte was as a person until I grew up and became an adult. To this day, she's probably one of the gentlest and soft-spoken people I've ever met. And she's a friend to everyone that came into contact with her. And again, all of her friends were just such high quality friends of the utmost respect. And I don't know, just throughout my entire life, I've been surrounded by very strong people that were Chris and Charlotte's friends. And that means a lot to me too. And I was trying to think of what she would have wanted me to remember now and to say now. And there's a lot I could say, but honestly, when I think of Charlotte, my Grammy, I think of the small things and the quiet moments. I think of her just sitting in silence and peace, and being a young boy, you don't really understand how to do that or why someone would enjoy that. But looking back at that now, I like those quiet, peaceful moments. And I appreciate the small nuances in every day. And I appreciate the sunset and dinners with family and just the simple things like that. And, you know, it was truly an honor to even be around her growing up, but to have her as a grandmother was truly special. A piece of her lives on in Christopher and I now. And my nephew Finch. And I want to say I hope that she was proud of the men we've become, but I know she would be. I miss you. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you very much, Michael. Sean Murphy, Charlotte's other son, is on and would like to say some words. Sean?
Can you hear and see me? Yes.
Yes.
I am Sean Murphy. I'm Charlotte's youngest son, zooming in from Chicago. I've kind of made a few notes. So I love my mother. It's very hard to memorialize her in a few paragraphs, so I'll try to paint my picture of her in broad strokes. In the early days, she was a woman who made birthdays and holiday events very special. She was a woman who lugged 3 kids across the country every other summer from Connecticut to California via plane, train, or automobile during the 60s and 70s. And at that time, that was not an easy feat to accomplish. During all of my teen years, she put up with my growing pains as she was trying to navigate her new life as a single woman. And then she met Chris. Good job. Fast forward to the end of the 80s, I started to visit Mom and Chris more consistently in Maine and in Tortola. With me, it took within between 5 to 10 minutes of being there and talking to her for our pheromones to hook up. And when they did, it just seemed like no time had ever passed at all. My mom had the single most effect on the major parts of my life. She steered me towards excellent reading. Her creative cooking in the early days cultivated my adventurous eating choices. Her journey through spirituality informed my own beliefs, even to this day. In her last few years, I watched as she lived with dignity and grace. I will always be grateful or thankful that I got to express to her everything I needed to say 2 days before she died via FaceTime. I love you, Mom. Thank you all.
And thank you, Sean. Now, some other remembrances from the Beebe side of the family. Chris, Chip Beebe would be first.
The new age of notes. Trying to find, there we go. I just want to give a shout out to Rick. Rick Chandler was a rock star through all this also. I didn't hear his name mentioned, but I'm sure Kent mistakenly. didn't mention him. Anyway, Rick has been a rock through all this for my dad. And the friendships really got him through this. And all of you guys have been exemplary in that. Thank you. I wanted to read a quote from Eric Allen. Everyone is my teacher. Some I seek, some I subconsciously attract. Often I learn simply by observing others. Some may be completely unaware that I'm learning from them, yet I bow deeply in gratitude. Charlotte taught me many things. She taught me how to light up a room with a smile. I've never mastered that to her degree. She taught me how to be a loving partner. She taught me how to see the world in the light that her creativity and her artwork shone, and I'm now married to a photographer who is also sharing that, and I'm grateful for that. She did teach me grace. As has been mentioned, I think Kent covered very well. She was very gracious in a lot of different situations, and that's really what I wanted to share, was the things that she taught me, and I live in gratitude for those. Thank you.
Yeah.
Now, Athena Thompson.
Who's also using modern technology. Ainsley kept asking me, I don't know, this last couple weeks, what are you going to say? What are you going to say? And I kept saying, I don't know. I'll think of it when I get there. I literally just wrote some things down as we were driving over here. My relationship with Charlotte has, the last 10 years or 15 years with her, for me, are what I remember, where I don't know if I learned the most, but I enjoyed being with her the most. And yeah, a lot of that was during her illness, and I tend to do well with that. That's why at 55, I'm a new nurse. But anyway, I loved her. I can say that I loved Charlotte. She was beautiful. And when Chip mentioned about lighting up the room, yes, absolutely. And the poem was pretty much everything that I think of, you know, sitting out on the deck with the cheese and crackers and just hanging out. We had so many great conversations over the years, and she always wanted to know how we all were doing. And then she'd ask about how our friends were doing. And then, you know, if she met somebody, she'd ask how they were doing. She always was interested. And I loved that. We connected on the Caribbean. Very much enjoyed spending time with her there. I felt that her smile was brighter in Tortola. Mine is too. And also gardening was another big thing for the two of us. We came together with that. And I just wanted to share one day, I came up, Elijah was still, I think, in diapers. And I came up, and she was all excited because she had found this really cool, new, and she kept trying to describe whether it was a garden center or a garden, or I had no idea what she wanted to show me. So off we went, and And it was this farm in Friendship in a place that I've never been. I don't know how she found it, but you could go there and dig up from the earth a delphinium plant, for instance, and bring it back home. Or you could get cut flowers. And she knew that I would love this. And it was so cool. And we spent like hours there because we talked about the colors, you know, and her being an artist means the colors and the shapes and what they play on each other and how I remember this like it was yesterday, and it was 30 years ago. And we ended up buying some flowers, and then we went and got flowers and put them in her garden. And I don't think they're still there, but I will remember that garden with those flowers in it. And I just remember that moment, that day. It wasn't a moment, but that day was just really one of many kind of those types of conversation / experiences / adventures that we would have. And I won't forget it. So, and I won't forget her. Thank you.
And Josh Beebe is down in Connecticut, and I know he'd like to say a few words.
Hello, everyone. It's good to see everybody's faces. It's been a long time for some of them. And I would just like to say from the bottom of my heart to my father that thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to speak for such a, as people have said, gracious word that comes up for me all the time and always did for Charlotte, which is something that I learned from her and don't always do, is being a classy person. Maybe in times that are strenuous or stressful, she just never seemed to skip a beat and keep that smile that was very inviting going. And that's just something that I've always thought about when I think about her. And she was very, I felt a big connection to her because of California. And there was a time where me and my father and her, when they were first married, traveled to California. And it was a tough time, I think, for everybody. And once again, her love just kind of saved the day. And I feel like her love really saved my father as well. And now to also hear that, you know, his friends are keeping him together now is just, it's these great things of humanity that we can just still all see around us. And it just makes it really important to celebrate people that bring that out in people. And she definitely did. And I will, before I just break down, tell a story about, I think it was maybe it was 2 years ago. And we were talking about, with my daughter, this is my daughter, Callie, and her mother, Ruth. And we were talking with her about California because that place is so special to me. I named my daughter after it. And we always had a real connection about that. And she was talking about growing up in Southern California, which now is very different than when she grew up there, and was talking about just laying in the grass and looking up into the sky and talking about how she could do that for 8 hours at a clip. And I could really identify with that because I think I did that in California on several occasions. And the way she described the air and the sky, it was like she was almost clairvoyant about God and her connection to God. And that really resonated with me and made me know that, you know, God is watching over all of us, and he's helped me and everybody that I know so much in all these trying times. And that connection is something that had to be shown to me over years to be able to maybe get some of that clairvoyancy myself. And I really appreciate her and everyone else like her that has shown me that stuff. And I'd just like to finish up with saying everything that her family has said so far, down to her grandsons, which I haven't seen since they were really young. And it's awesome to see babies, even if it's on a screen. That's really cool. And congratulations. And all of you said things that I definitely saw in her, even in the short time that I knew her in general. And I thank you for all of that, because it's important to remember great people. But thank you all, and I will see you soon.
I have old technology. For those of you who are joining us by Zoom who don't know me, I was married to Chris's older brother, John. So like Judy, who was married to our brother David, and Charlotte, I had the privilege of being a part of this wonderful family. Charlotte was kind, warm, gentle, and full of grace. I always felt at peace in her presence. But under that soft exterior also was a stubborn will and a fierce determination. And I think that helped carry her through her long illness. She was a deeply spiritual person, not only because of her faith, but in her strong connection to the natural world and the next world. I still remember the long conversations she and our son Jay had about vivid dreaming and things of that like. She gave generously of her love to Chris and her children and his children and both of their grandchildren and all of the rest of us in the family. And above all, she had a passion for her art, for creating beautiful things. In her artwork, her pottery, whether it was pottery or painting or sewing or other various means, or in the various homes she shared with Chris, or the houses the two of them restored and renovated. Fortunately for us, many of those things still exist, and I believe create strong memories of her soul and spirit. For those of us who are fortunate to be around them from time to time. Like all of us, I think, I feel blessed to have known her and very fortunate to have experienced her love. Thank you.
And now my wife, Judy.
I was raised an only child by parents who were so much older than the norm that my first cousins were in college when I was born. And when I took the Beebe name, I got brothers and sisters. And Charlotte was a wonderful sister to acquire through a marriage. we shared a lot of love. She had a spirituality that did not give her dogma, but instead made her see things creatively. She asked more about feelings than facts. She prepared art with her senses rather than a learned style. Most of her efforts were from her mind and heart rather than a pattern. This made her capable of exploring many, many different artistic routes. She belonged to a book discussion group where she focused on emotions as well as action. She contributed to the board of the Farnsworth Art Museum and the Camden Conference with the same quality. With this vision, she brought out a sensitivity in all of us who cared about her, and for which we were very, very lucky.
And now Laura Beebe is going to read some appropriate readings that really remind us all of Charlotte. Laura?
Thank you. Hello, I'm Laura Beebe, Charlotte's niece by marriage, through hers to Chris and mine to Scott. Charlotte, as you've heard, loved to read. She always had a book going, more than one, I think, at times. And some of my favorite conversations with her over the years were about books and about what we were currently reading and recommending books to each other. I've had the pleasure recently of contemplating words that either remind me of Charlotte or words that I think she would love. I have 3 short readings to share. The first one is from the children's book Charlotte's Web by E.B. White. And just a quick primer if it's been a while since you read it. Charlotte is a spider who, by weaving words in her web, prevents her friend Wilbur, a pig, from becoming, well, bacon and pork chops. Towards the end of the story, on Charlotte's last day, after saving her friend Wilbur's life, she and Wilbur speak to one another in the barn of the fairground where she's been weaving the miraculous webs. Wilbur asks her, "Why did you do all this for me?" "I don't deserve it. I've never done anything for you." "You have been my friend," replied Charlotte. "That in itself is a tremendous thing. I wove my webs for you because I liked you. After all, what's a life anyway? We're born, we live a little, we die. A spider's life can't help being something of a mess with all this trapping and eating flies. By helping you, perhaps I was trying to lift up my life a trifle. Heaven knows anyone's life can stand a little of that." This next reading is an excerpt from the novel My Antonia by Willa Cather. I was something that lay under the sun and felt it like the pumpkins, and I did not want to be anything more. I was entirely happy. Perhaps we feel like that when we die and become a part of something entire, whether it's sun or air, or goodness and knowledge. At any rate, that is happiness, to be dissolved into something complete and great. When it comes to one, it comes as naturally as sleep. Charlotte, as you've heard again over and over, saw beauty in the world, in shapes and colors, in fabric and clay, in flowers and nature, in people too. This anonymous Native American prayer reminds me that Charlotte's presence and sense of beauty remain with us, within us still. I give you this one thought to keep. I am with you still. I do not sleep. I'm 1,000 winds that blow. I'm the diamond glints on the snow. I'm the sunlight on ripened grain. I am the gentle autumn rain. When you awaken in the morning's hush, I'm the swift, uplifting rush of quiet birds in circled flight. I am the soft stars that shine at night. Do not think of me as gone. I am with you still in each new dawn. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura. Now, Chris. I think so.
I mean, today is a time for us, it's certainly a time for me to be joyous and then to feel sad or to laugh, then cry. Charlotte was born on a rushing river of love. As she went down that river, she spread that love generously to all of us here today and many more. I feel your lovely spirit is here with us today. What a blessing. Thank you always, over and over. Your living spirit will not be forgotten. And I also, some of you have been hearing me talk about Moonglow, which is the name of our boat, but it's also has quite a history with Charlotte and I, because when we first decided we liked each other quite a bit, we were dancing in a place in New London, Connecticut, to the music of Moonglow, which is a very old song. I was amazed. It's 1933. So I guess I ought to be, no, anyhow. We're going to play it, but I think it'd be great for you to be able to hear the lyrics ahead of time, because it really is right on as far as I'm concerned. So if I can be sure to find it here. Where's Elijah? Where was this? You had this under notes, right?
Yeah. Right
There
here.
it is, okay.
Gotcha.
Thank you, Elijah. He was an emergency guy if we needed it. And the song goes, it must have been Moonglow, way up in the blue. It must have been Moonglow that led me straight to you. I still hear you saying, dear woman, hold me fast. And I keep on praying, oh Lord, please let this last. We seem to float right through the air. Heavenly songs seem to come from everywhere. And now when there's Moonglow way up in the blue, I'll always remember that Moonglow gave me you. Oh no, Matt. We can get music from anywhere around here if you want it. It's customized. Way up in the hill, must have been Moonglow that gave me you today.
Well, that concludes the program. What a wonderful celebration for a wonderful lady. Thank you.